Our new partner who I'm really, really excited to announce we are working with. Super, super stoked. Thank you, Angie Huberman, for this connect. It's incredible. AG1 Athletic Greens. I've been using them for a while. I have them every morning on an empty stomach. Basically, take one scoop and you put it into a cup or glass or mug of 8 ounces of cold water. And this is all your greens for the day. You're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Every day I take this. It's so good for my digestion, my energy. It's simple. It's easy. I don't like taking a lot of vitamins. This has been really, really helpful for me. I've had a lot of stomach issues my whole life, and ever since I've been gluten-free and taking the AG1s, it's really helped me in my stomach in the mornings. I love it, and I'm so psyched that they're part of the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm sure a lot of people don't like eating greens, let alone drinking your greens, but I can tell you straight up, it's got a mild tropical taste, and the taste is actually really refreshing, and I really look forward to it each morning. Don't think it's just going to be just straight bland. It tastes really, really good, and it's good for you, so remember that. This one blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, and aging. It's incredible, just one scoop, especially for musicians who are vegans or just musicians in general who want to get those daily greens. You can get the packets. It's incredible. I just gave some to my friend Derek from Sepultura. He traveled the whole entire world this summer, and he had those every single day. He said it saved him. I bring AG1s with me when I travel. It helps me stay healthy. You know the deal. If you're on tour and you are a picky eater, but you need to have your greens, sometimes catering doesn't have greens. Sometimes you miss the catering. Sometimes you miss the backstage food. Sometimes it's too late after the show to go get food that you like. So if you just have a scoop of AG1s in your hotel room before you go to bed, or you're in the hotel room at night and you're starving and you want something healthy, boom, life changer. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with some convenient daily nutrition. That's all you need, one scoop in a cup every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. This is it. I'm super psyched. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. This is incredible. I love it. It's just basic greens. For me personally, this has changed my life tremendously. I'm not a junk food vegan. I don't eat a lot of fake meats, so I'm strictly greens. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful new addition to my life. So once again, visit drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Get 1 free year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. Yo, Liquid Death, thank you so much for hydrating all my guests, taking care of me and my family and my friends. Love your water, love your brand, love what you stand for, love what you give back to the community. If you want to learn more about Liquid Death and how it started, listen to episode 115. With the co-founder, owner, and creator of Liquid Death, Mike Cesario. Just a punk rock skateboarding kid from Delaware with a dream. It's an incredible story, incredible journey. So if you go liquiddeath.com/Toby, you get free shipping on any items you order from liquiddeath.com. And if you want to get water, Liquid Death water, go to amazon.com. But for merchandise and other things that's not water, go to liquiddeath.com/Toby and get free shipping. Thank you so much, Liquid Death. Death to plastic, murder your thirst, stay hydrated. You know H2O saves lives.
It's like you should open the podcast by playing that clip, and then all three of us, all we should do is just talk about Josh Brolin for the next 90 minutes.
Or we just end the podcast with that message.
Yeah, I'm going to put it at the end of the podcast for sure. Let's start so we can start talking about Josh or wherever I got my notes. But welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today, I think he's my co-host, but he's my friend. He's just here. I asked him to come because he's the first person I knew of that was actually doing the cold plunges and the baths and all that. My friend, Rich Roll. Thank you for being here, Rich.
Hey, man. Love you. So happy to be here. Honor and a pleasure.
You were on episode 90 for the listeners, so if people want to hear your story and hear that conversation, they can go back to episode 90, which was awesome. So thank you for coming back. And the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ryan Duey, thank you for being here.
Oh, my man. Pleasure to be here.
The cold plunge man. People see me posting, going crazy the past couple months, get my cold plunge. Huberman did a little thing where he kind of like had to check me on somebody else's podcast for going in it too much and loving the ice and going in there. But thank you for being here, both you guys. It's crazy. We were just talking about it. I'll play at the end of the episode, but Josh Brolin was going to call in today and be a surprise guest. He's a fan of both you guys, and thanks to so Huberman got me the plunge through you, and then I paid it forward and got one for Brolin through you. Thank you, and one for Travis Barker through you. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome, man.
They're so excited about it.
It's fun to see how, especially Josh. I mean, Travis too, but Josh has been like all in. Just like a
his
full
Instagram
representative
stories
of it.
are fucking full on. Like,
Totally.
He's walking outside. It's like 18 degrees out, and he's like, but it's 39 in the plunge. And then he gets in. He puts his head all the way under.
Dude.
Every day, tagging One Life, One Chance podcast.
I'm gonna send him a snorkel.
Oh, okay.
So he could do the snorkel.
I haven't been under. I haven't
That's
put my head
next
under yet.
level.
You don't dunk the head.
I've never done that really. Have you done that? Dunk your head?
Once in a while. It's not a common daily practice.
So fun fact: the dunking the head is
What does it do?
It's a hack. It makes it easier.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So Huberman actually talked about this on a recent podcast. Forget what the actual trigger is, but it actually triggers parasympathetic. So you get in and you lower your heart rate quicker. You calm down quicker by going under and then coming out. There's like
First thing. Okay.
Plug your nose, slide back in, come out. It will make the plunge that much easier. You'll regulate way faster. It's like the most paradoxical thing, but it works. I guarantee it.
Okay. And so, Rich, when did you start doing ice baths and stuff?
I mean, I'd done it on and off at other people's houses and friends' places and stuff like that, and was always super interested in doing it more regularly. But it was always a situation like, I'm fucking busy, dude. Like,
No, you're busy.
I'm gonna go like at this point in time, like in the late 2010s. If you wanted to plunge, you had to get one of those steel tubs, and then you had to go to the market and buy an ungodly amount of ice, or you had to have your own ice maker at home, like an industrial strength ice maker, like Laird has. Or they had all these DIY kits. Like you could go on YouTube and watch somebody customize their top door freezer and turn it into their own cold plunge. And I was considering doing that when Ryan reached out to me. And I had already heard of you guys, and I'd been on the website, and I was like, that's what we need, like this beautiful tub that would look great in anybody's home, but also can be outdoors. And it took all the, fuss and muss out of the whole thing and just made the whole process easy. And, thank you. I was one of the early people that you were so kind to, gift a plunge to. And when you have it there, you're going to use it all the time, and I love it. And just to kind of piggyback on a thought that you opened with, Toby, when we first met and when you first did my podcast way back in the day, this whole you're lifelong vegan, the whole bit, right, into that lifestyle. But the whole kind of wellness, at least like wellness 2.0 aspect of your personality was not present at that time. And that has really blossomed over the last couple of years. And I've never seen anybody jump in the deep end into, how to take care of yourself in a meaningful and intentional way, including, the plunging and all of that, than you have. You've made massive progress. And in turn, as a result, you've had influence on so many other people, and, not just by getting fancy people plunges, but just the fact that you talk about it all the time and you're always espousing this lifestyle. And I just think it's fucking dope.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Yeah, it's a definite game changer, man. I really never, you're right. When I met you back then, was on the pod, I wasn't really doing that. I was barely exercising, maybe hiking, maybe running once in a while. Now I'm running a lot. I'm trying to do a marathon. I training in my garage earlier with weights. I'm trying to really push myself in my 50s. It's the best years of my life. And then getting the plunge and then getting the sauna.
What caused the shift?
I don't know. I just saw my friends doing it. Then I went to Huberman's house with Rich, and I did my first plunge, under the ice. Yeah. He broke it with a hammer. I had to really be tough in front of them and go underneath it and knock
I got video.
Yeah, and I was just holy shit! This is we did a couple times, and it just felt. This is the way it felt after. I feel like a superhero, man. It's hard to explain the first time doing that.
Totally.
It's that high, and I love that natural high because my whole life I've been high on life with skateboarding, everything else, and music. Now it's just something else I could do, and I have it in my backyard, which is unfucking real. You know, it's like, then I got really obsessed with it. I did like 13 minutes. And then Brolin hit me up. He's like, hey, man, I see what you're doing over there. He's like, what are you trying to prove? He's like, I did that before to myself. I was in it for like 14 minutes, but why? What's the purpose? Like, you don't have to do it like that. I do them back and forth, you know, like.
Were you hitting 13 consistently, or was that like a one-off that you were like?
I do 8 or 9. I started building up. As soon as I was just nonstop with it. I'm like, how
you set it down at 39, right? You
yeah.
hit yeah.
Uh-huh. You're 39, 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Going.
I'm that guy too. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah. Although when I set it at 39, just because of ambient temperature, it's generally like 41.
Mm-hmm.
But still, yeah. But yeah. I have to resist that same thing. It's like, I can go longer. And
Keep
then you're like,
it.
this is not, this is not,
And is it better
an
for
endurance
us? And
race?
What is it really
No.
doing being there longer, you know?
I think it's questionable, but I like what it's actually doing. But I think there's something too, like going into
testing yourself.
That dark place where that challenging spot where, I mean, I don't think it's quantifiable what's happening at those higher 8, 10, 12 minute ranges. I think it's a journey that like can't quite say what the actual benefit is, but it's just resilience. I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah. I've had a couple of friends, I'm not going to say their names, get emotional doing the cold plunge. Go from the cold plunge into my sauna. Then I went in there. One of my friends was like crying. I'm like, what's up? Because I don't know what's happening. Just getting super emotional. It's intense.
We do now, like at the company, all of our interviews, like if you get to the final interview, you have to come in and do a sauna cold plunge, like with the interview. But what it does is people come out and like, I haven't felt like, I wouldn't say they get emotional in the interview, but there's a dramatic shift in the people, and I think it like wakes us up, like
something, dude.
It's like things that we weren't quite feeling or kind of blockages that are there. It just kind of like can snap. It's a quick snap out of that.
Yeah. It shakes the mask off. Laird and Gabby call the sauna the truth barrel. The conversations you have in the sauna are unlike a normal, like if you went out to lunch or whatever.
Right?
The best.
I call it the hot box talk. So we do the same thing. We talk about everything. One of my friends was in there. He was in jail. He's telling us all these stories, just crazy stories, and all these truths are coming out. There's no phones. It's just you in there. I love it, man. I know your whole thing was Wim Hof kind of inspired you, right?
Yeah, Wim's the OG of this whole thing. I mean, I tipped the cap of all this craze that is cold plunging and cold therapy, and like that traces back to him. So for me, that's where I learned about it. I think it was the Vice documentary.
Yeah, Vice doc,
2015 just was. Did you guys seen that doc?
Yeah.
I mean, it blew my mind. I remember watching and be like, who is this man? Like, it was one of the most like inspirational things I had ever seen.
Yeah.
And to like, not just take away cold, but a man that was ridiculed, man that was shot down, man that was laughed at. You're different. You're an anomaly. And his whole thing was about humanity, and like this is not just me. Like, this is something we all have access to, into what we can do with our bodies.
Yeah.
And so I was, I mean, when I first saw that, I was like, this man is incredible, and he's got that charisma to be like, okay, I'm gonna test this out. So it got me into it. I had been having some health issues, and that's when I started getting cold and doing some breath work. That was the first time I started really incorporate that in my life, and made a dramatic shift.
So what was your lifestyle like before that? Were you working out a lot? Were you just...
Yeah, I was fitness. I'd say like health conscious, but definitely not to like where I'm at today. I was younger too. You can get away with a lot more things at that time, into like what I was putting in my body. And I was also starting my first business at that time, and I had kind of really neglected myself during that window to get that off the ground.
Yeah.
So coming out of that's when I actually started to incorporate like the breath work and getting into cold rivers and things like that, to actually like, I got this business open, but my health is shit right now. I was getting sick all the time. So I think I was a health conscious guy, but I wasn't, there's levels as we all know, like your journey too.
Totally.
As you take things on, you just start to peel the onion back, and there's like, okay, there's more I can incorporate into this.
It's crazy. We're just in Europe, and one of my friends got a plunge right before. He was in the band as well. And we went by this lake. There was ice. We almost went inside of it. It was like in Germany or something. Like, can we plunge this? Now when I see stuff like that, I'm like, I wonder if I could do the polar bear club now. Like
totally.
On the ocean. I think I could do that now, because cold showers are easy. And like, there was a point where we almost did go into the water on this trip. I'm like, I don't know how we have no towels. It's kind of weird. Like, nobody's out here. We're going to go in all tatted up dudes, go into this ice. on the side of the road just to try it. I don't know.
That's the
But
best.
I see those as a different thing now.
Well, now it's the fun part when you travel is like incorporating in the natural wonders and like where's that river? Where's that lake? Like that's my co-founder, Mike. That was how he got into it. He just traveled all through the Rockies and the mountains and was finding all the different cold and was like, okay, this is incredible. And then he went on like a engineering journey of like how to build the unit.
Wow, man.
So
Where does Wim Hof live? Like, where is he at?
In Amsterdam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you met him before?
Yeah, he's been. Yeah, I've had him on.
I've
had him on. I've had him on the pod a couple times. I had him on pretty early, also, like not that long after that Vice documentary, because I saw that and I was like, I got to get this guy.
Were you doing
and,
ISIS up before you saw that?
No,
Okay.
I mean I had done Icebound. I'd had experience with it, but I wasn't like a practitioner of it or anything like that. And so I've gotten to know him a little bit. I mean, he's a maniac, but I think the thing that gets missed in the conversation around Wim is the fact that, well, first of all, his sort of journey into the cold and into what you can learn from breath came from a place of pain. Like he suffered a lot of crisis in his life, and it was almost like a survival tactic.
Gotcha.
And he stumbles into this and he finds healing in that. And then he decides to really, mine the depths of it in a way that nobody ever had before. And he's done an incredible job of being this advocate for it. And I think, the cold part is sexier than the breath part, but the breath part, I think is equally, if not more profound in terms of, something that we don't pay enough attention to. And I'm only at the beginning stages of trying to learn and understand that. Brian McKenzie, you probably know Brian.
Yeah, getting to know
it's
Brian
kind of
well.
at the cutting edge of helping people become better educated around that. And like Wim is an absolute maniac. Like, it's like he has his kids around him to ground him. And I think they're the ones who run the business because he's like this crazy artist, like he's from, he lives in the clouds, he has big ideas and he's wonderful in a podcast and as a teacher. But he's like all over the place, man.
Yeah.
He's like a trip.
You
to,
need
like,
those
hang
cats
out
that
with.
are doing the message and don't let him touch.
Let other people
Yeah.
like create infrastructure around them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I think the success of his business, his kids really deserve credit for like seeing what he was doing and trying to, figure out a way to institutionalize it so that, he could speak to more people and do it efficiently and effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How old is that guy?
Wim's, I think he's 60.
Yeah, he's going to be in his
60s.
He's going to be mid to late 60s
Yeah,
at this
I think
point.
so.
Yeah.
It's crazy
Not
that
70.
you and your partner both your companies you had before went under during the pandemic, correct?
They were closed down.
Yeah, and this kind of came from that, you two together, right, in 2020?
Yeah. I mean, we were float centers, so like
Yeah.
a very niche business, brick and mortar. It was, obviously a radical time in the world, shut those down. And, we took it as like, there were a lot of synchronistic things that happened. Mike just happened to move to Sacramento. He had a garage. He starts building this thing in his garage. We don't have our businesses to really work on. So, it was very like we started from ground zero. It was like, let's build, we said we'd build 20 and sell them to our float centers. And like, we'll email our float centers and be like, hey, we have 20 units. Who will drive them to your house? Who wants one?
Wow.
And then the money we made there, we just bought more, and then we just, and then it just kind of snowballed. So it really started with building one cold plunge.
But how did you figure out the prototype for it? Because obviously it's
design.
like, can't somebody just make this so I can just get in it? Like, was that the question you were trying to answer? And how
Yep.
did you answer it?
So that is much more of a Mike. Mike's the inventor of the unit. He's the engineer that's his mind. It was very simple. It was like first principles, like, okay, let's build this for ourselves. Like we don't have to remake and go spend 12 months making the greatest cooler or compressor. There's a lot of off the shelf parts that you can just put this together. So to be honest, like the first units were, I don't want to say Frankenstein, but it was like just stuff that you could buy on Amazon and just make it really clean. And you can start to see some people out in the world that are building really nice kind of DIY cold plunges. Yeah. We just happened to have it on a really slick looking bathtub that we really liked. And there were some factors that we liked about that. And then so I think that was like, we solved that problem first. And then there was a pricing. We were like, everything. There were a couple companies on the market, and they were selling about 10,000, 15,000 and up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was expensive. It was a very it's a different product into the woodworking that goes into it, and some of the how they build them. So we weren't that interested, or at least I wasn't interested if we weren't around a $5,000 price point. That was what got us interested, and we did it, and we're like, cool, I think this is good. Then from there, I think what made us unique is we moved really quick. I would say a lot of people wouldn't have gone to market at the rate that we did, and by doing that, we learned so much, from the unit that's out at your house now to what you have at your house. I mean, it is night and day difference of what we've done and how we've iterated the product. And, a lot of that we've had to work with our customers on that and making sure everything goes right. But I think at this point in the world, we have more info into what a good cold plunge unit is than anyone in the world, into direct feedback from people doing the experience. So that's been, so I think we got to a spot where we were like, okay, it's good. Now we're working towards becoming great and making which is exciting on future units. But if you were to ask Mike, your question of the engineering, he would say he's embarrassed of the product that we launched with, which is, I think, a sign of you'd launched at the right time.
It's growth, It's ask an author what they think of their first book, or any painter of their, it's like, of course you're growing, you're learning, you're innovating, you're refining, all of that. But when you say, you're looking now at being great, what does that mean? In your mind, what does that translate into?
Yeah, I think it's, if we're talking just a product front, that's, we want to build the best cold plunge that's ever existed. Yeah. And that's new models that we're going to be rolling out. Whole new way of new technologies within it, which is exciting, which is coming later this year.
Inflatable ones too?
Yeah, inflatables. Just kind of idea. And then also within that, meeting people at different spots of their journey, different price points, different ways that people can enter into cold plunging that maybe just aren't at this premium model.
Yeah.
That's something really exciting. Then we can kind of partner with them along their wellness journey. So that's cold. I mean, we other things too of realizing we want to run our plunge through our app. So we're going to be launching an app that you can work your plunge through there and actually get support. So the big thing is a lot of people get a cold plunge, and it's like getting a massive piece of gym equipment and you don't know how to use the gym equipment, which is totally normal.
Yeah.
So it's how do we set people up for success to be guided videos, someone that you
Your
could
videos
put,
are good, by the way, on the website. Those are helpful.
They're good.
Yeah.
We want to become great.
Yeah.
So they're other levels to them of having some real, you could pick different guides within there, having different support, pre, post, what are you trying to do? There's different ways to cold plunge, different ways to work out.
Yeah.
It's a very similar thing. So I think just taking that and just trying to button it all up into just a better cold plunging experience. And we're all just kind of figuring this out together. This is a brand new thing at scale that people are getting into cold water in this type of modality. So that's what I'm excited on, is we don't have all the answers, but we're getting a lot of info, and we're committed to kind of finding out how to be the true partner for people into getting into cold water.
When you came out with other cold plunge companies, were there a bunch or no?
No, not to what's happening now.
Now it seems like there's so many.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Ads all day long coming up on my feed.
Totally. It's
crazy, man.
Yeah, because the algorithm's
it's just all different crazy ones.
I don't. Ones. That's weird. Yeah, I don't get that on mine.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, good to know.
Yeah,
just little teeny ones, and they're just all different companies. I'm like,
I get videos of dudes getting in and out of cold plunges all day long, but I'm not getting the ads for products. Yeah.
They see my ass. I don't know what's going on, but there's a whole bunch. It seems there's this whole bunch, man. It's crazy.
Cold plunge is such a unique we love it, but it's such a unique content piece because it's such good user. You're doing a hard thing.
Yeah.
So it's you get to share it, and it's kind of a flex, but it's a humble brag to be able to put it out there. It's great.
We were talking before the podcast about the explosive growth of this whole thing, and just kind of thinking about that from an anthropological, perspective. You mentioned Wim being the OG, but the arc from that Vice documentary to what's happening now has just been this crazy, spike curve, especially over the past couple of years, in no small part credit going to people like Huberman and Rogan and,
Yeah.
others that are talking about it all the time. And I asked you, like, could you have imagined, like when you came out to my house at the very beginning of the company, could you have imagined this kind of growth or this level of popular enthusiasm for this
Not at this rate.
activity?
Not at this rate at all. I would be lying to say that. I think what we did sense is we knew it worked. Like we knew get it in cold water is this like very. We all know. We all do it.
Yeah.
You feel incredible. The results from it are insane. Are just one of the greatest things I've found.
Yeah.
So I think we trusted that in like the long term, but in 2 years.
It's insane.
It's insane. And I think that there's just very few moments and things come together like this, where you have Huberman that's putting out information that is like digestible for people. You actually have a scientist that's like a leading like figure that can speak to it. And people are like, oh, I understand what you're talking about now.
Yes.
And people are like, you have Dr. Susanna Soyberg and these other individuals that are actually doing studies in labs like based around cold water. You get these few ingredients that are coming together and you mix in social media where it's a thing, it's an act that people want to share.
Yeah.
You put all that together and you get this tidal wave of, and then health and wellness. I think COVID accelerated that as well. I think health became more predominant. People
100%.
it came into focus. The home gym craze too, people building out their home. It's just these accelerants that just, here we are. Cold
When
water.
my FedEx guy dropped it off, he said they deliver like so many plunges per week.
Really?
He said yeah, they're so used to it. It's like constant.
Yeah, we are a big FedEx customer.
the thing that you said around sharing it is I think a big piece. Like people love to share their cold plunge experience online, right? Like they're enthusiastic to do it. And it is a humble, like it's humbling, but it's also a humble brag. It's like, look, I did this thing kind of thing. But when you were talking about, what does it take to be great? And you want to have an app and you want to have, all these tools, et cetera. I had this idea, this thought occurred to me. It probably has occurred to you, but what would be cool is to have like an integration with Strava, right? Like, so, if I'm wearing my Garmin or whatever, and I go on my run, like when I hit end, it automatically feeds to Strava and I post there. And that's really where people share their workouts and all that kind of stuff.
I got you.
And if you could because that will break out of the kind of closed ecosystem of like cold water enthusiasts into much broader spectrum of just people who are active, from professional athletes all the way down to just,
Totally.
people who are going hiking.
And that that will be in the MVP of the app, which is rolling out in probably 30 days.
Wow.
But it will be wearables, so you get in and you'll
have a setting cold. Yeah.
You can
on your
link
thing,
your
like on your
Fitbit,
Garmin,
you can link your
instead of
Apple,
run,
and you're in
ice plunge. Yeah,
and
ice bath.
it's like the it connects through there, and then while you're plunging, you can watch your heart rate, so you could actually get direct feedback while you're in there to. The whole goal is how do you calm yourself in a stressful environment? That's really the intention of why we get into cold. We feel great. All these incredible chemicals come.
Yeah.
But the act of it is like, can I respond to can I regulate my body in a stressful environment? That was Wim's whole message. We have control over that. Well, that is the direct feedback. Is your heart rate calming down while this intensity is going on? So that will be in the app. Then you'll have that. You'll be able to share to social. You'll be able to have this or you just track yourself over time. Like, how is my heart rate doing in the cold? I think that's a huge, more tools we can give ourselves to like how we are having this experience.
Yeah.
I think there's two sides. I think the data is fascinating. And I think there's also this like spiritual side to it where you just you're in there and it's like, all it is your breath. And there's
crazy, man.
and you're just, you have that surrendering experience. And because it is a meditation, you get in there and you come out. It's like at least for me, I feel like I've just did meditation. Like my mind is calm.
Yeah.
I'm relaxed. Yes, I have energy, but I don't have the tabs open in my head. Like I'm very, very centered. So I think there's multiple ways that we can engage and work with the plunge.
Two things. The rubber ducky it comes with. It may sound funny or weird to people, but that's calming to me. When I hold it or have it next to me because I'm thinking I'm in the bathtub, it's really weird. Like your mind when you have the rubber ducky in there. I just got another one too. I'm gonna start putting more in there.
Do you think it's like because your childhood?
I don't know.
Yeah,
there's something cool with that. And is it true that everybody gets a different duck? Are they all different?
They're lots of different ducks.
Okay.
A lot of different ducks. I mean, the duck stories. It sounds like an obvious thing to do. It wasn't. It was actually my manager at my other company. She was coming over to visit us when we were first brand new.
Okay.
It was our first facility we were in. She gifted me a rubber ducky and was like, "Oh, here's a rubber ducky. Like, this is congrats on your new business." And we would test a unit, and when the tested checked out, the duck would go into the unit, and that signaled to the team that this unit's done, and we can drain it, and you can ship it.
It's cool.
And that was when we were, we'd build a couple a day, 1 to 2 a day. So it's just like, it was very simple. And then it just became the thing of like the ducky's this iconic piece to
I love it.
our brand. And so now it's like a duck goes out with every single person, and those ducks have been in more like Jake Paul videos or like this YouTube videos, or like it's the most famous duck that simply the most famous part of the company.
Yeah, I'm just picturing the guy who makes the rubber ducks, just thinking like, what did I do to deserve? Like suddenly his business goes through the roof. Like it's been flat for 50 years, and then suddenly.
Yeah, rubber ducky business is the best thing about the rubber ducks is they all turn upside down.
Yeah, they do.
They float, but they're like drunk. So it's like a comical, and we're kind of just like, I kind of like the drunk duck. Like it's just, So anyways, the duckies are.
I love it. I think
legends.
I think it's a good part of it too.
I hadn't thought of the soothing part.
It's so soothing, man. Yeah. And I have friends that I say, just hold the duck. Just look at the duck. Focus on that. Like if you're tripping out, like just hold the duck and look at it. I don't know. It's like a childhood thing. I'm not sure.
I love that.
I rubber ducks in my bathtub as a kid for sure.
That's good. It's good feedback.
You know what's amazing having the plunge is my sleep at night. It's insane how good I sleep if I sauna plunge. I don't know if I just did the plunge, I'd have the same thing probably. Right? Good sleep.
No matter what time of day, or when you do it like before bed or late afternoon.
Doesn't matter what time I do it. I just sleep good that day. Yeah.
I mean, sauna plunge for sure. It's just there's so much like metabolic work, like your body is like working hard, so to calm down. The cold before bed, it's always it's an energy inducing piece, but most people that plunge before bed actually state that they sleep better. And I think it lowers that body temp in the immediate right after the plunge. Usually we need to lower our body temp a couple degrees to kind of get into that a deep sleep range, to get into those good sleep zones. I do think it's important. One thing I do think with the cold, and I'm curious, do you go long periods right before bed in plunging, or do you go like shorter plunge windows? Short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like the combo with the sauna is just insane. I know what it'd be like if I just had a plunge and didn't have a sauna, and would the effects be the same?
Do you have a sauna, Rich?
I don't know. So for the time being, we have like a jacuzzi, so that has to be the stand-in until I'm going to get a sauna, but I don't have one yet. I've heard Peter Attia talk about how much doing a sauna at night before he goes to bed helps him sleep. That has not been my experience. Like the cold definitely helps me sleep better, but I'm like a furnace, dude. Like I gotta like put the flame out before I go to bed. It's just half the reason why I sleep outdoors in the tent. Like I like it cold. Like it's been so fucking cold here. Like basically most mornings there's frost. Like it's in the 30s when I wake up in the morning, and when it's in the 30s, those are the best nights of sleep that I have. Like,
really?
I just get all these blankets or whatever. So like the plunge before bed is much better for me. If I got all hot at night, like that would not be helpful, I don't think.
Yeah, if I sauna, I'll do like a 45 second. I do a 45 second to a minute plunge
blast.
just to kind of like bring that temp back down. But I usually just plunge in the morning. It's like
it's a lot harder to do it at night.
I kind of like. I mean, I don't know.
Totally. The more time that goes from that first morning opportunity, like.
Declines quick.
It's just these shitty excuses can creep in, like in just the little blockage. So I know that's my lowest bullshit meter is in the morning, where it's like, just do it, get in there.
Is every day okay to do, you think? And one more thing, do people reach out to you like you're Huberman, like you have all the answers to all this stuff that you know about the brain, the heart, and everything? Like you have all the answers. You're not a doctor.
Not at all. Some people think I do, and I absolutely don't. I am an enthusiast that maybe knows a little more than the average person.
But how much is too much?
To plunge?
Yeah.
Man, I think that varies per person.
Yeah.
I think it, Again, I
careful what you say. This is get clipped out on the internet. There's mad debates going on right now
There are
online.
some, before workout, after workout.
I think it's very personal. Body types are different.
Yeah.
People are different. Men are different. Women are different. Like there is things that matter that will impact your experience. I bring it back to working out. For some people, they can work out longer and it's okay for their body. If you haven't been working out and you're doing and you all of a sudden do a 3-hour CrossFit workout, that's not going to be beneficial for you.
Yeah.
That is long-term damage. You know, you guys talked about doing some longer plunges. Mm-hmm. You're in plunge shape. Your nervous system is in a better situation than someone that hasn't been doing that.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay to do some longer sessions. I cold plunge every single day, about 3 minutes. That's every single morning. I'm traveling here, so I didn't get my plunge in today, but
I got you.
And it's energy. I need it.
Not a cold shower?
I did a cold shower this morning at the hotel. They work. They're cousins. Yeah. You know, they're different. They give you a hit, but then the full body submersion is just a totally different experience, in my opinion. So yeah, I do it every day. So that would be my answer. But then I think I love about cold plunging, man, is we tell people you got to learn your body. Yeah. We can give you some guidelines. We can give you, hey, we recommend starting maybe 55, go for 2 minutes. Just start there. That's our guidelines.
Yeah.
But everyone's different. And how they're going to respond. And, maybe that isn't 2 minutes. Maybe that's just 30 seconds is your edge to find that spot. And you start at 60 degrees, or some people are radical and they're going in at 40 degrees and my always thing is, what can you do consistently? This isn't a one-time experience that you get one. Yes, it's good you did it once, but can you do it consistently? Yeah. So again, working out or cardio or running, if you did it one time, it's good, but we're really playing a long game here. This is kind of a life activity. Mm-hmm. So finding that temp, that zone, that, duration that you are going to show back up again tomorrow and do.
Yeah. Does your wife use it? Rich?
No.
Mine either.
She's like, no fucking way. She's like, I don't need that. Yeah. She won't do it.
My wife too. My wife will go and just put get her on her knees and just sit down for a second. And then she's like, I'm good. But not yet. Maybe she'll come someday, but I don't know.
It's funny. We see many guys that are I'm getting a cold plunge, and it's the plunge has a design that's male female are both like it. Can't tell you how many men get it, and then it's their wives that are the ones that
that's
are
good to hear.
Wow.
All in, and they're she does it way more than I do. The temps are always, I think, kind of the women tend to want it a little warmer. Obviously they're smaller bodies, but yeah, it's fun to see my husband wanted this. Now I love it.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to resist not host. I'm your
no,
co-host,
no,
dude. I don't want to
I'm
I can't help it, dude. I host a podcast, so it's I don't want to step on you.
Yeah, bro, go do your thing.
But I think it would be cool to talk a little bit. I would suspect, Toby, there's a lot of people who listen to your podcast who are not so much in the health space, or
what are you trying to say,
the
Rich?
idea of cold plunging might be new to them. So it would be cool
see
to
it on
talk a little bit about the why. I mean, I know for me personally, there's lots of whys, right? There's the benefit of just making a habit or a practice of doing something hard every day, getting okay, this sucks. I got to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to start the day by doing something that ordinarily I wouldn't do. So you kind of begin the day with a win, right? Because you always feel great after you do it. You feel like you accomplished something, and you kind of push through your own resistance. True. And in my experience, then the floodgates are open to do other hard things because I've already done that one thing. And then there's, of course, all the physiological benefits, the down regulation of your nervous system, but also this vitality and energy boost that you get. There's the anti-inflammatory aspect of it, which I have questions about as an athlete. But how do you talk about the whys for somebody who's curious but doesn't really know anything about this, but is intrigued?
Mm-hmm. Stimulates the white blood cells and stuff like that. And
yeah, I mean there's laundry list of benefits per person. I mean, I always start with like you were asking, am I scientific? Like, what do I know? It's like I always just say like I feel incredible.
Yeah.
Like I start there, and I know that's very general, but I think the mood enhancement and the energy and the anti-anxiety, the mental health side of it are just...
It's an antidepressant.
Yes.
You know,
It is. It absolutely is. So first, I mean, you could go to a study that was just released, I think, on nature.com. Czech Army just did a big study. They're actually using it as an anti-anxiety medicine for their soldiers. So this is just a study that was released like a month ago. We have customers all the time that are lowering their antidepressant medication and actually working with it, and that's their journey.
Yeah.
We're hearing this. This isn't like a one-off story. And I think when we got into it, that wasn't quite on the forefront of what I thought. And now that I look at it was before of like, oh, anti-inflammatory, which is probably involved in what we're discussing here. But the mental health, it is step one in the biggest thing. I mean, Huberman talks about truly baseline dopamine levels are being raised up consistently when you cold plunge.
Yeah.
Dopamine is the precursor for focus, drive, motivation. You talked about you did the hard thing, now your day. That's we could trace that to what's happening in your body. Like your dopamine is rising up. Like you are more focused, clear intent. I feel more capable. Like that is a real chemical in our body that causes that. And what's cool about the dopamine is you're getting this flood of all those feel-good chemicals. And we're talking like 250% above normal. I mean, we're talking, this is like cocaine style impact on your body. Wow. Like truly, that's what we're talking about without the downside, without the swing back. I mean, cocaine you get that feeling, but there's a trade-off to that. And you're going to swing back down and your body's going to have this impact where you're going to go below baseline levels.
Yeah. Where
this is a sustained raising of it. You feel it for a couple hours after.
You do.
And you don't transition off into this like lull. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's and then you talk about the ROI on time. It's like I said, I do it 2 to 3 minutes a day. Let's say you do it 5 minutes. And you have that, like, we're talking like truly hours on end impact, if not your full day. And then you compound that over time. So why I start with the mental health, because I think that is just the human experience right now is in this world that we live.
Yes.
We have so many inputs. It's a stressful world. That's just the human experience. So I start there. We could go into immunity boosting. We could go into, sleep, aiding our sleep. I mean, it's
relief.
Pain relief. Yeah. I mean, it does numb nerve cells after. So you do get some, I mean, we talked about kind of your back, like you do get relief right after. It's definitely not, it's similar to taking maybe an Advil or something like that for a short window of time. So that, again, that's a benefit. It's wild. I mean, we have different people, especially a lot of autoimmune disorders that are usually some sort of nervous system imbalance. That's what we see, like immediate results, whether it's like, MS. We have a ton of people with MS that like plunging for a week. Like I'm talking quick regulation. I'm not saying this is in general for every single person, but we see this. This isn't just like I have one example. This is like pretty countless. So it's, it's fun to see. It's crazy to see the impact that it's having on each individual.
Why do certain parts of the body hurt when you're in the cold plunge? And it always varies for me too. See, like my ankles or my hands, or it's never the same. It's interesting.
So I have a theory, which is kind of bro science, but
is it bro science?
Yeah. Like I think it's like, especially like my ankles, like I've had a lot of injuries in my ankles. So I think like we're scar tissue. That's
I agree with that.
I would be curious to see if that holds up. If anyone's can respond to the pod.
No, because my friend Derek broke his ankle twice, and that's the main thing that hurts when he goes in the plunge.
Yeah, it's the same thing you hear like when the weather changes and somebody who had an old knee injury, they can feel it.
Yep. I've also heard like hand impact, I think is like kind of relates to ultimately it's like the more brown fat you have, the more adaptive you are to cold water. or to cold environments. Like that's a good symptom. So if you're really cold all the time, it's a signal that you need to, your brown fat is not in an optimal place.
Okay.
So brown, just for everyone listening, like there's white fat and brown fat in our bodies. They're two distinct fats. We've always just used the term, oh, I have fat. The common term of fat is white fat. That's energy storage. That's what causes us to gain weight and things like that. Where brown fat is energy production. So it's actually when they talk about cold plunging, boosting your metabolism, that's what's happening. You're raising up your brown fat, which in turn is the energy production within the body. So with it, like if you are really cold, like if your hands are really cold in there, that could be a signal that you need to keep working on your brown fat isn't at an optimal level. And I think it's also a signal. Again, I think Huberman had talked about this, where it's like some people are like, well, I just don't like the cold. I don't want to do the cold. If I'm cold outside, I get cold so easy. I'll put a jacket on. It's like you're masking a symptom. If you get cold super easy, your body's telling you something. And so that is cold water training can help that. And you adapt a little bit more over time, and your body can kind of regulate in colder zones better. So that's a benefit to it as well. People say like, why? I could just put a jacket on. Well, it's actually, you're masking a symptom for the body.
What about putting your hands under? When I did the plunge the first time, Rich and Huberman told me how to put my hands under. And once I put my hands under, it's a totally different experience. And then going up to your chest, like past your heart, that's all I do it now. Like I go right to my chin now. And what's the difference between that and keeping your arms out? Is it just different effects it has?
I keep my hands out.
Really?
So here,
Wow.
I go hands right on the side.
It's so much easier if you have your hands out.
I know. Why is that?
And then I'll bring them in and I'll circulate and I'll do like 10 press. And then they kind of scream and I bring them out. So that's how I do it. I think you talking about your neck, that's a very critical spot to get into. And we see it when someone's in there and their full body's out, or when they're like submerged.
I submerge, man, because
it's an important. Me. That was some friendly bullying.
Yeah, totally.
That's the
only way I do it now because of that. They're like, put your hands in the ice, and it's so different going in ice and going into the plunge too. It's totally different for me.
Going from just stagnant, and then the water's just blowing on me the whole time. Yeah, but it's not ice. But I love putting my hands in. If I have friends that do, I'm like, put your hands in. You have to put your hands in. It's the best way, right? You do it too, Rich? Where do you put your hands under your armpits?
No, I put them down. I just chill like that. Yeah,
you just chill.
I'm in there, bro. Yeah.
And you go all 8 to 10 with the hands in there.
But now I'm gonna start going underwater, like you told me. That's cool.
It's a little hack.
I know this is about the plunge, but Huberman told me to get like a hat for the sauna or something. That's good for me, like a sauna.
Oh, he had that weird little hat in his sauna. Yeah,
sauna hats are great.
Yeah.
Okay, why?
So sauna hat.
I'm gonna get some.
They're at the sauna hat. Once your head gets hot or cold, that's the first place that's going to signal your body what's going on. So you're actually keeping that region cooler.
You're trying to cool it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you could last a few more, like if you can get an extra minute or 2 minutes, like that exponentially is going to have more impact into those, because you're at that stressful state. So it's just getting you a little more time in there, and they do work. You're not going to notice it till you're at that, you're in 190-degree sauna at the 20-minute mark. It's like that hat can get you a few more minutes in there.
Okay. It's be interesting. Huberman inside his sauna with his little hat on. We didn't wear the hats that day, though. Yeah. I'm gonna
you got to get the crown hat.
If you had a photo of that and put it on Reddit, the internet might explode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get hats for mine though, for sure, though.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So the plunge, so it's still evolving. You're still adding things to it, making one better, and just they're all changing. How many different plunges are there? I know there's an XL, the one that. And then Brolin got one that's hot and cold, which is awesome. Yep.
So we have the hot and cold, which is really more for a function of where he's at. It gets snow. It snows. So it's a way to upregulate. It's not how cold it can get. We actually need to upregulate the temp. So it's a way that if it gets down to 20 degrees outside, the piping doesn't freeze. And he can actually plunge at 42 degrees or whatever he chooses without it freezing. So that's why the heater's there. It is cool. You can turn it into a hot tub if you want, but obviously it can take time. To transition between the two. We have the XL, We have more of a commercial type model that has some upgraded features to it for higher uses of plunging. And then, like I said, we're excited on kind of future generations and what we can put out, but that's a little down the road. One thing we are super excited on that's going to be coming up here in this spring is we're going to start selling saunas.
I was just thinking when we're doing all this talking about saunas, and I was like, I wonder if they're thinking about making a sauna.
Oh, I know. Damn,
but then I thought that's a really crowded marketplace. Like
it is. So we didn't exactly like it wasn't on our radar. Wow. It was but early we had so many customers asking, who do you recommend, and will you guys ever build one? So we weren't sauna experts. But that led us on a journey we've been, engineering this thing for 18 months.
Wow.
And we're excited. Like, again, it's getting into a space that we think is actually going to, a lot of great saunas out there, but we think this is a unique sauna that will be something different in the marketplace, not just to do it. So we're excited. It's going to be, which we feel is like very on brand for us. It's the Plunge sauna. It is dry. It's a dry sauna, so it can get up to 230 degrees, home heater. The benches fold up on the inside, so you could do yoga or kettlebell swings.
You don't have a sauna right now, do you?
Yeah. No, I'm like, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. We were.
Are you going to match the aesthetic?
Yes. So
that's the thing. Why does every sauna have to look like a log cabin?
So it is wood, but it's cedar. I'll show you guys offline, and the design was like. How we're with the Plunge, there's a sharp angles, and that's the sauna. So it's a fire and ice. They fit. They are. We did a couple of subtle features like the back angles at a 15 degree. So when you sit, saunas are usually it's either tight or you're barreled and you're kind of having to hunch. Well, we wanted to create like the most comfortable environment for the most uncomfortable experience. Yes. So it's like. The sauna itself opens upward. It's subtle things. You wouldn't even really think about it, but it like it expands outward. So when you're in it, as opposed to the world closing in on you, you kind of, again, we want us to be able to last a little longer in these extreme environments. Mm-hmm. So if you can have a backrest where you can kind of surrender into it, similar to the cold plunge, the top opening up on you so it doesn't feel like it's like the world's closing in on you. So if you can get this extra minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes in these environments, that was kind of the goal with it.
Yeah.
Wow. How many people can fit in these ones?
So we have our standard and our like XL. The XL could fit 6. I mean, we've thrown 7 people in these things, but I would say like 4 is the sweet spot of like very comfortable, good conversation. Mm-hmm. And then the smalls, 2 feet smaller than that. So
they go to 230. About 230?
About 230, yeah. Depending on, if you are in California outside, mine's getting to 230. But we've tested, these are Montana, it's getting 200 and plus degrees. So, yeah.
One of the big things with saunas is they don't do a great job of containing the heat. They dissipate off too much heat, right? Which limits the temp that you can maintain it at.
Correct. And so... part of it too is like what we're learning is like even where you put the like temperature valve in there, because that sends a signal back to the heater.
Yes.
So if it's like, obviously, I mean, we're talking every inch it goes up, like that's dramatically, I mean, the difference when you're sitting on the top bench in a sauna to the low bench.
100%.
Like that could be 30 degrees. So where you place that temperature, like gives feedback to the system. And sometimes the system could be working overdrive. Sometimes if you have it too low, it'll shut off early.
That happens to me a lot. It's shutting off early.
Yeah. So it's a thing.
That's so cool. Now I wish I'd have my sauna, man. I can't wait to see this one.
Oh, come on, dude.
So
yours is pretty good,
no,
man.
Mine's good. Yeah. Shout out to Brolin for that, too. He helped me out. That was really hard finding a sauna, to be honest. There's so many options. People are like, get the infrared. I was like, I don't want infrared. I want the rocks with the water.
Totally.
Like classic.
And that's the, we're leaning into that is like the 165, 175 temp seems to, Ryan McKenzie's really big into this of like, that's where a lot of the research is into what this is doing to our, that's where the studies have been at these higher temperatures. So I think infrared works. I think the thing with infrared is to get that, you're probably going to have to be going at least 45 minutes to 60 minutes into the sauna. Where if you're at 190, you can go on 20 minutes and you are sweating.
Yeah.
You're deep into it. So it's a time aspect that
Yeah,
you're
mine
saving.
goes to 250.
That's insane.
250.
Are you ripping 250?
Yes, always.
Always.
Yeah.
What do you? How long? Like, so what's your protocol?
That's no joke, dude.
We did it. We did it.
250?
We did it at
Yeah,
Andrew's.
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
you saying, yeah.
Yeah, because Andrew said his goes like 260 or something.
I try to stay 15 minutes if I can. It's hard though. That's when I'll go out and do a cold shower, then come back in before I plunge.
And how good is it to go cold and then into the hot?
It's
like
insane.
you talk about feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane when your body's still cold. You don't even feel the heat at
Yes.
first. You're like, it's crazy how numb you are from it, you know?
Yeah.
So the sauna plunge combo is the best, you think, for getting the most positive effects on your body and brain and all that? Or is it just, if you just do the plunge, it's totally different than if you did the combo?
Yeah,
You know
I think
what I'm saying?
it's different. I think it's they're going to work in tandem. And again, I don't know exactly what one together is going to be doing to the body, but it is a different experience. You know, when you go from cold and then you go heat the body back up, like that's going to be sending different signals into the body. I think it's like the ultimate like active recovery day to go from cold to hot, because your body's like you are stressing it out still.
Yeah.
And it is like a stressor. So you need to be clear on it. It's a very, metabolically you're working very heavily, but it is a way for your body to kind of recover in. And so next days you can get like really great workouts in.
Yeah. And then ending on the cold, is that the best way?
That's the Soyberg principle. That's Dr. Susanna Soyberg. She's the kind of the leading research right now. And her big thing is she states end on the cold. And that's just, she says, then your body's naturally going to warm up, and then it's going to work. And you're going to get that activity within the body. So and I think from an energy standpoint, even if you just get in for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, just get that body, just wake it up a little.
What about like the Rogan Huberman debate about cold plunging and then working out? It's been going on for months, and it's like so confusing to people. That's what works for Rogan. That doesn't necessarily work for Huberman or me or Rich or you know what I'm saying? Every person.
What? Bring me up to speed on what is.
Well, he was just saying like he wakes up, he goes out, he goes in his ice bath, and then he trains.
Yeah.
Then Huberman, I sent him a video clip where he was saying it. And he's like, you know what I mean? It's like do the opposite way. I don't know. Everybody's different, I guess.
Yeah, I leaned Kelly Starrett, Dr. Kelly Starrett. He's kind of been the forefront of a lot of this stuff.
I just had him on the show. Yeah, we haven't released it yet, but him and Juliet came by the other week. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I love those guys.
Well, did you guys talk cold at all?
I don't think I always forget. As soon as we're done, I don't remember anything we talked about. But
What do you think about that, Rich?
I don't think we did.
About training after you do the cold.
Well, you had a thought, like finish your.
Yeah. So Kelly's statement is like, yes, there is some potential research out there that if you are into bodybuilding or like extreme weightlifting, space it between your workout.
Yeah.
Like, if you can get 2 to 3 hours after your workout, great. Because what you're doing is you are having an inflammatory response when you work out.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point. We are tearing our muscles down and we're inflaming, where cold is so powerful that it actually stunts that process.
Yes,
Gotcha.
This is what I wanted to get into with you.
So
we go down like a crazy, weird rabbit hole, but go ahead.
So, yes, that is happening. I don't necessarily, I'm into working out, but I work out more to feel good and to like, it's a part of my life. So to me, it's like, can you get in the cold? Like you got to find the time that you can get in the cold. And if it's an excuse for you not getting into the cold because you're afraid of that gain and you're not an extreme bodybuilder, I think you're kind of losing sight of the big picture here.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's like, for me, I'll speak for myself. I work out. I want to be able to work out again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, cold plunging does allow my body to recover. So yes, arguably, am I losing some level of gains? Potentially. But am I showing up again tomorrow and feeling pretty good when I work out, and I can go pretty hard when I work out, and then I get to do that again the next day? That to me is that game works for me.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Like, obviously talking to your son Max, and they're into like their gains are everything right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I could understand where maybe you're taking that 2 to 3 hours. Like I want my bench to be going up.
Yeah.
Then I would it might make sense to wait 2 to 3 hours.
2 to 3 hours.
After your workout. But for me, I just want to get in the cold. I want to feel great. I want to work out really hard again tomorrow, and that's what I lean on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're talking about, Max, he's mentioned you about getting your gains on and training and stuff like that, and I'm going to try to flex on the pod. Do you have any questions for the cold plunge master?
Maybe they were already answered because I was in the other room and I kind of heard, but you were saying unless you're an extreme bodybuilder, it really doesn't affect like crazy. You're like, I'd say it affects the experience. From my experience, maybe it affects the pump a little bit, just like right after.
Yeah, I think it absolutely does. I think it. I was saying, like, for you, your like gains are the big thing right now. Like, right? Like, you want to be increasing your lifts. You want to be. So yeah, it probably does make sense to space it out when you can. For me, at my age, I just want to keep working out.
Yeah, this guy's 20, man. It's different.
So it's different, you know. So I think there is, and to say we definitively know exactly what's happening there, I think is still time will tell. What's going on. But
I think there needs to be a lot more studies.
Yeah.
And so I like 2 insights on this. First, to your original point, Toby, of like what temperature should your sauna be? And like, do you end on cold? And there is some science on that. And, you know, how long should you be in the cold? And how many back and forth should you do? And what time of day? And all that kind of shit. Like, the internet is just going nuts with people arguing about this kind of stuff. And to me, it's a little bit of losing the forest for the trees. It's more about what you were saying, which is like, are you doing it? Have you found a way to do it in a sustainable way such that you're doing it with regularity? And if that works for you, great. All these arguments about like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, do you put your head under your hands? Like, do you go, all of that is like the final, it's like the cherry on top of the sundae. It's the 1% of the 1% that everyone likes to yell and scream about, rather than just like, are you doing it or are you not doing it? So I think that's a really kind of, you know, important point to make. And we do need more. It would be great to see like all this research on, you know, do you like what happens when you go back and forth, or what do you just do one of the two or whatever? I'd love to see it. I don't know that it exists yet or not, but
it's coming.
Okay, cool. The second insight being on the impact of this on athletic performance. And I think from a most general, point of view about like how training works, you don't get stronger in the training session, whether it's weightlifting or running or cycling. You get stronger in the recovery period in between workouts. And if you're an athlete at a very high or elite level where optimizing performance is of paramount importance, you should be very focused on dialing in your training such that you're getting adequate recovery, but making sure that you're packing in as much training as you can so that extended over the course of 6 months or a year or what have you, you're able to train as effectively, as hard, as fast, as heavy or whatever, as frequently as possible in a way that you're maximizing your gains, right? Like
100%.
So the recovery piece is super important, understanding how that works. So you're not overtraining or you're not undertraining. Now insert cold plunging into this. How does that work? How is that moving me forward? How is this potentially regressing me if I'm not understanding how it actually works? And the body responds to exercise-induced stress training by having a response to that. It has to repair itself. You have actually damaged your body, and it has to repair and get stronger. So there's an immune response. Your immune system is saying, hey, let's rush to this area and fix it. Now, cold, on one level, is arresting that process. It's slowing down blood flow to the area, right? So you're going to feel better initially in the short run because you're not feeling that inflammation in the muscles that we're working out, right? Yeah. So I think there is some rationale on some level that maybe not right after you train, or, you know, like in terms of timing, and you know better than I do. But I think as a practice, I think it does, provide benefits for all these other reasons, I think, that override like whatever kind of short-term, well, maybe it's going to take you 2 hours longer to, fully repair that muscle because you had that cold inducement, but there's these other benefits that happen at the same time. And what is the relationship to, the hormone regulation and the nervous system regulation to that other thing that you perhaps are overly focused on. Because I think in the whole, it's a benefit. Athletes have been doing this forever,
Yeah.
So there's something going on here that is helpful and makes us feel good and does allow us to bounce back and feel good the next day.
I think you nailed it. It's like
Really did.
the sleep is in theory where the most muscle growth takes place. That's actually where we build muscle, so it's like, I think I think it doesn't, there's no one size fits all here. Like it's kind of a journey of each person finding them out. Like, Max talking, like I've noticed a decrease on my pump a little if I do it right after. That's a real, great. That's great.
Yeah.
Into checking in with yourself and being like, okay, this is going against what I'm going for right now. But I think in the most simple form, I think a lot of the arguing that's going on is some levels of posturing or just
competitive stuff.
And the example that I gave you, I'm talking about the elite of the elite athletes, where you're just obsessed with and for almost everybody else, this is not something you should be really all that worried about. And yet it's the same thing in the vegan argument. Like they want to argue, well, can you eat shellfish? Is shellfish really sentient? Like you want to argue in these margin cases
Totally.
that really is missing the bigger point.
Yep. That's it's very much that. It is turned in. I feel like it has has some arguments in that realm, and it's we really are. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
A lot of get in the cold water. Get in the
cold water.
Get in the cold water.
Yeah.
When you
be
can
like
get in the
those
cold
Russians and those people in Iceland. They've been jumping in the cold water forever. They're not looking at their Garmin or whatever to figure out exactly how long.
Especially for those starting out. Most of our world isn't cold into the cold yet. So it's don't overthink this. It's like if we were just introducing movement to our world, we wouldn't say you need to move at this time. It's no, get your body moving. Just start whenever you can.
How wide is your stride?
Yeah, we wouldn't care about that. We'd be get off the couch. That's what we're doing.
But that's why humans are so funny.
Totally. Of course.
We're officially out of problems. When we're in this argument,
just trying to one up each other and be competitive for sure. And who did it right? I've done it longer. I've done it before you did it. You know what I mean? What kind of plunge you got?
Yeah, there's definitely
how
this
cold is it?
Yeah, the posturing. Oh, how long? For me, I always say, mine's at 4. My plunge is at 47 degrees, and I plunge 2 to 3 minutes. I guess people assume that I'm 10 minutes at 39 degrees every day, and I'm I don't. Sometimes I keep my hands out. Sometimes I put my hands in.
I love that though. Yeah, everybody's different.
It's just you got to find. There's nothing to prove here. You got to find what works for you. At the end of the day, it's all of our own lives, and we get to do it. And so I think it's fascinating to hear the debates into what people want to make of it and not. And I think my thing is just do it consistently and do whatever's going to get you in.
I wonder if someone's ever bought one, not ever trying it before, and they got I just bought this thing. I don't know if I can do it. It's too cold for me, or I don't know if that's ever happened.
I'm surprised.
Because I have to get this.
We get a lot of people that buy it just jump in head first. I haven't done this.
My friend did that, yeah.
It's a lot. It's way more than you would think of just these one-offs.
But once you buy it, it's a commitment. I bought this huge tub. It's in my yard. I'm going to do it.
Totally. And we have a 30-day return. You can have it and you just got to ship it back to us.
You get many returns?
None. Okay. it's we've had one person that ended up having a surgery and I can't get in, and it's just or we decided to move. Those are the one it's in a blue moon. But from the sake of I did this and didn't really feel anything. Hasn't happened.
That's not going to happen.
Hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I love the fact that just about Josh in general, got him the plunge, didn't ask him for anything. We gifted it to him, didn't ask him to post. And now he's posting every single day because he's so psyched on it. People are so excited about doing it and pushing themselves in it. He's walking outside with no shirt and it's snowing out, just showing I'm 55 years old and I'm killing this thing. Well, it's awesome.
It's we kind of joked about it, the humble brag, but I'm but the thing that is cool is you did do a hard thing.
Yeah.
You shared it with the world, and that's fucking awesome. And you actually did something that's not. You can't fake that.
No.
You got in the cold. You did. That's hard. Every single day, and it's hard. And I think that is what is the cool part about it. We can share something that's genuinely man, I know you just did something that you actually didn't want to do right before you did it, knowing it was going to be better for you. And that's such a cool message, like in the micro, like to see that. That's what I get excited on when people share. I'm like, you did that. I know that wasn't easy. I do it every morning, like, and you did it.
And it doesn't really get easy.
I don't think it does.
You know what I mean? Every day, every time I do, it's different.
It's the bullshit meter gets. I can sense myself more. Like I can kind of be like, dude, just I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But that still shows up every single morning.
Do you do it with music at all?
Sometimes.
I like music.
What's your what?
Sinead O'Connor.
Okay.
So I do like
Every time.
She has like 4 to 5 minute songs. And I'll just chill and just sing it in my backyard by myself, just singing the songs.
While you're in? Got it. I've been humming.
Sinead,
I've been humming a lot. In
Okay.
just a good hum, and it's just like drops me in a lot better. But I try and work different things in. Do you go music?
No, I mean I've like had like a podcast playing or something like that. You know, like
Oh, you're actually like
there.
listening to a information.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it not getting easier, it definitely doesn't get. It's always hard, but once you do it enough, like you have the mental muscle. You're like, well, I did it the other day, and I remember, like it was fine after 10 seconds. That, so you do build up some level of like. A sense that you're going to get through it. Like you don't have like the first, when we were at Huberman's and you got in the first time, like you were literally like,
it was scary, man.
Yeah. So it's like, you don't have that experience now. Like it still kind of sucks and it's hard, but like you just pop right in.
Well, your resilience level goes. It's like, I'm sure on these ultra runs that you used to do, or you do, it's like, the first few, you're like, you've never felt those feelings. And then it's like, once you get into, you've done them, it's like, okay, I mean,
it's still going to suck, but
but like, I know
push through it,
what to expect. And I think, I wouldn't compare a cold plunge to an ultra run, but there is this level of like, I've been here.
Yeah.
And I could get through that.
I know we're promoting the plunge, but what is like, if somebody can afford a plunge right away, like a healthy, clean way of plunging?
Yeah, I think
what they could buy or use like ice or just a horse trough. I don't know.
I mean, you could buy simple Rubbermaid trough, fill it up with ice, do one. That's a great starting spot. Have some friends over. Super cool to be doing it with people. It's like a fun community. You're going to feel great together. Yeah. I mean, cold showers are a thing. You could absolutely, we all have showers. Turn those on in the morning. Still cold out most of the country right now. That's a great way to just kind of feel something and actually learn to kind of breathe in stressful environment. I would say with the caveats, like to me, cold showers are like the most annoying thing, like because you can't like surrender into it. It's
true.
It's just this like hitting a different part of your body always. So I wouldn't say it's apples to apples. The other thing too is you just start Yelping or Googling like places to cold plunge, like they're popping up. Okay. So you could go find a spot and just get in, and some places have pretty affordable memberships that you could try it out for a month or two and get in and kind of build some level of consistency. Yeah. And that's what I would recommend. I mean, that's how I would do it. Like build a little consistency. Is this something I would want to get in my life, or am I willing to commit to this in my life? Yeah. And then go from there. And I still also think right now you can find lakes and rivers. Totally. Like that's a place to get in. That's how they did it. We've done it since the beginning of time. Yeah. And we're across this country. You can get in those right now. And then what about the portable inflatable ones for musicians? You're talking about maybe having some of those available. That how would that work? Yeah. Like so blow up blow up paddleboard style. Mm-hmm. That type of material. You can have those too. There's other ones that are maybe even a lesser, I don't want to say lesser quality, but a different material, but just way more like easily moved. You could, blow it up, take it on the road with you. I think that's like have the most backstage or something. Exactly. By the bus or. I mean, we have the artist that you're using this right now is Gaga was using it on her tour. Lizzo is coming back. She's coming through SAC again. She's getting like another one for her tour. Wow. Which she's coming through. That's so cool. It's I think like Bieber's been having them and like they're all using them backstage. Like that is the thing. This is the rock star movement now, which you're ahead of the curve. Yeah. That is crazy. Yeah. You just put it on your rider, dude. Got to have the cold plunge. It's got to be set at 41 backstage, all good to go. It's a thing. It's an absolute thing.
I
Like,
remember seeing Gaga in
Yeah.
a documentary talking about the pain she was having, and she was taking ice baths. That's right.
Yep.
Back then, that was like a year or two ago.
so that's the new world. It's not drinking. It's
wild,
It's
right?
meditation, cold plunge, or heat.
Did you have any serious goals for the plunge, and you've already surpassed them?
Yeah, I mean, I think goals like, I don't know, there's like revenue numbers and things like that. It's like, yeah, we want to, like, that's kind of a moving goalpost. I look at it more of like, yeah, first I look at our company. Like, I want to have a super healthy company culture.
Yeah.
That's like something that I'm very big on. The people that are, those are ground zero on this mission. We're working daily. It's our family. It's our people that we show up to.
How many people there now?
We're up to 75
Wow.
plus employees, and growing. And so it's, that's very important. And then I look at it as three. There's kind of three levels of the company that are important, and they all have to carry equal weight. One is financially,
Yep.
we need to be sound there. One is internal culture, and then the other is like social impact. Are we, which I think we are, but are we doing what is our good in the world? And like, how are we, and that can evolve, not just getting cold water out there, but how is our customer service team? How is, the customer, the experience we're putting out, the information we're putting out there.
Yeah.
Are we just a product company, or are we more of an adding to an educational company? So when you ask goals, I think, we want resilience to become like a mainstream conversation, which I think it's getting there.
Yeah.
But actually, like resilience, like what does that mean in this modern world? And not just have to be cold plunging. Cold plunging is a tool that you could work to build that in, but just be a part of that conversation of like, adaptable humans. And I think that's like Mike and I's MO. That's kind of just what we like. That's what we focus on in our lives.
Yeah.
So it's been a natural progression as the company. I think that kind of says it all.
Yeah. Did the Shark Tank help?
Shark Tank.
Yeah, being on Shark Tank, did that do anything that changed for you guys?
Because
Because you were already out there. People already knew Plunge before that.
yeah, I think it. There's like this spike that comes from
The
it.
spike, yeah,
you get the traffic. We're a very unique product for Shark Tank. It's not like someone saw us and like, I'm gonna buy a $5,000 unit. Like So web traffic was great. I think it introduced us to the world. There is this Shark Tank dynamic. You get this like wake that comes from it of just like SEing on Shark Tank. Like there's a real strong Google play. So like, a lot, it's just, there's a world in Shark Tank. So it's like, now you get all these articles written about us, which helps us on the internet.
Yeah.
So it was, would I put it in our top 5 impactful things on the company? I don't know. I don't know if I would.
I think it opens an interesting conversation around legacy, old media versus new media. And, I had a big, question that I wanted to ask you, which has to do with like the decisions you made as entrepreneurs about how to position and market the company. So yes, you do Shark Tank. If you can go on Shark Tank, go on Shark Tank. Great. Fascinating that wasn't the biggest kind of moment for you as a company, because I would venture to say it's all these social media moments of people sharing, like your customers become evangelists and ambassadors for the brand because it is so fun to share. And you guys were really smart at the very beginning of your company when I can't imagine how you were capitalized or what your revenues were, but you're like giving these things out because you were making a bet like on that idea. Like we need to get these in the hands of the right people who are into this kind of stuff, who are going to talk about it, who are going to share it with their friends. And that's a gamble. Like I would imagine there was probably a lot of conversations about, is this the right thing to do?
Totally.
Like we're just going to give these away to some people. Like you were incredibly generous with me. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. Clearly this has paid off. And I think it speaks to this paradigm shift in how we think about marketing, entrepreneurship, legacy media versus new media, because you guys are all in on the internet, and it is through podcasting predominantly and videos on Instagram, I suppose, that you've really built this company. And I think, to me, when I look at it as somebody who's been in this space for a long time, 10 years, and I've seen companies grow like mushrooms out of fertile soil who understood the value proposition of being on podcasts, like whether it's Alpha Brain or Athletic Greens or even like, I don't know, MeUndies or Tommy John, like these brands that are literally all of their marketing spend was in like podcasting and the internet. And they grew into massive enterprises because they understood that. And then I see all these other like, how come everybody doesn't get that? Like you're a success story of that. So I was just curious, like, could you speak to how you made those decisions? And I mean, did it work out the way I'm projecting onto you that it did, or was it harder and more different?
It was definitely like a concerted, we were clear on that's how we wanted to do it. I think what our goal was like, how do we represent, we're a new company. It's a new space. How do we get people to think and trust that this is like a predominant thing? It's like it's a radical thing to get people to be like, I want to get in cold water. So we had this concept of, we call it an entourage effect. Like, how do we get this into X number of people's hands that we feel will like exponentially be seen around the world? So, but then it wasn't just anyone. They had to be aligned. We had to be comfortable with who these people are. And that's, there's time we take heat where it's like, oh, you just give them to celebrities. And it's like, no, like these people have, like you two have spent years building communities. Like, it's like you guys, it didn't just happen. And for me to get access to your world, I don't take that lightly. And so it's like, that was like an energy exchange that we felt like, hey, like this is an offering that I have to Rich Roll's world, and that was, I think, how we took it on, that it was not just say, hey, what can you do for us? Can you put this out there? But it was like, no, I really admire what both of you guys have built. And there, we have a lot of other people in that space. And so I think that's how we've done it. We, Mike and I, maybe it's our Burning Man background, but we kind of, try and give with as little expectation as possible, like trust who you're connecting with. And at that point, it's like, yeah, some has it not worked out and it just maybe didn't go great, but majority we get, the 10x return, whatever that is, into new relationships, and I think that's become one of our like super, and I don't think we were intending that, but it's like we've become the relationships we've built at, like if some other massive major company enters in, like they're not going to have the relationships that we've been able to build and the communities we can connect to. So yeah, I'm amazed that companies,
Whirlpool, or somebody like that comes out with that. Yeah.
Like, so I'm amazed that new companies don't do this. But I think you kind of have to almost be the new brand to be able to do it. Because is Whirlpool going to be able to go do that? I don't know. Like, maybe if they totally do this rebrand and they're in and they're actually committed to that. But I don't think a lot of these like legacy companies, enterprises get what that actually means, like to actually what it takes to like build relationships and organically and do it grassroots style. So that came naturally for us. And it's something you talk about goals. I want us to keep that as we grow. Like that's something that is important in our ethos. And like, as we scale and bring people on, like really staying connected to that.
Are there a lot of people that reach out to, like publicists and managers, trying to like get the Plunge for different artists and actors and all that stuff? It must be crazy at this point.
It's the best.
Trying to pitch themselves.
The line is, hey, do you want to collab? Like, like that. It's like, I'm sure you guys, like, it's like, no, like, anyone listening, like, do never reach out to a brand. Do you want to collab? Like, say what you're going to do.
Just
like,
say what you mean.
Say what it is. And you're going to get like, we'll say yes to a lot of people that like, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this. And we make it easy. And I'm going to do like, cool. Yeah, it's great. Like, but yeah, it's crazy. The inbound and it's, so and I there's times it's like, but I'm so grateful for it, man. Yeah. It's like that is how I want it. That there are so many, even though a lot of people are asking for it and wanting it, it's like, it's not lost on us.
Have you had just straight up celebrities just buy it?
Oh, bro, we had the craziest one this was like 2 months ago. I'm on Instagram. I see LeBron James post it. And no one knew. No one in our company knew.
Wow.
No one knew that he had bought one.
No. And then we found it like wow, wife bought one.
You're like going through the database. Did he get like,
Bro, it was like it broke.
did he use a different name to buy it or
our
something?
PR team, and like it was like hitting us. Like it was like the internet broke in an hour at our company. You know, it's like, and it made me so happy because, you know, a lot of times it's like you do the influencer, celebrity, or person. A lot of things go into getting that person the tub and the deliverables and making sure it ends well. It's like he just went on our website, bought a cold plunge. No one knew. It gets built normally. It gets shipped out. He just loves it. And then I see a post of it. And so that was,
Wow.
It's like the real high end gals, they're not messing around with looking for any. They're just like, here, take it. Like,
That's
listen,
incredible.
when you're like that, I mean, you're happy to pay the money and not feel like you have to do anything. You know, they've
earned that.
Yeah,
It's like my time is
much easier to pay for it than to have like, do I have to post this? Do I feel like I feel a responsibility to, you know, like that kind of thing.
Yep.
But I'm sure he's posting
But when he does post it, he's posting because he wants to.
That's
he
the
feels
win.
obligated.
That would have been that's $1 million conversation, but it happened organically.
I know.
And we get the one, you know, he's smart. He didn't tag us. You know, it's
He didn't? Wow. That's crazy.
In that realm, I've recognized like that is their true asset.
No, he knows.
Yeah.
If he does that.
And I was just like, you put it on like you did.
Yeah.
You know, when the tag happens, it's like then people are entering in like, hey, can we, you know, not him, but I'm sure someone's team would.
It's better for you because if he doesn't tag it, then everyone's like, what is that product? Where do I get it? If he tagged you, then people would assume that perhaps it might have been an ad.
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. And our tub's like kind of unique and iconic enough that it's like, I know that tub. Like it's the white plunge tub. So
there's no other brands trying to do that right now, the same style?
There's a few that are popping up. Yeah, I think we'll probably start to see some kind of like hitting that sphere. You know, and more people, it's a growing thing. We know this modality works. People are going to get into it. I think overall that's a great thing.
Yeah.
You know, more and more people getting access to it, aware to it. We just want to be the best at doing it.
So you try to stay independent as long as you can, just have your own thing. I'm sure people might try to come by you or like you were saying, maybe Whirlpool.
We haven't raised any money. We've bootstrapped the whole thing, and so
that's fantastic.
it's us.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and so we're gonna hold on to that as long as we can.
Yeah.
You know, that is, we get to make every decision and not beholden to anyone.
So how many owners? Actual.
Well, Mike and I are the main owners, and then we've carved out like an employee pool.
That's cool.
So we have employees involved. But yeah, Mike and I it's him and I, and I think we have it written in, like our lawyers have been like, you need to have some other breaking point of how you make decisions. And we're like, no, we will make a decision together. Like,
awesome,
so it's
man.
written in that. I think that's one of our unique stories of the company is him and I's journey.
I love that it came out of the pandemic in 2020 and where it is now. It's beautiful, man. The whole journey of it. And just how people are really more conscious about how they're taking care of themselves. Like he was saying.
Would have never thought.
I just changed it up with that, you know?
Love it.
It's beautiful.
I'm going to pee my pants.
Yeah.
So bad.
You have any more
for
questions for him, Rich, or no?
You answered all my questions, man.
I know,
feel
man.
good.
This was so fun,
now,
man.
in the expanding universe of being the resilience company, you got the sauna, but then you got to maybe ultimately the ultimate irony is if you found your way back to then having float tanks,
Stay tuned.
cryo chambers.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. See
right?
that?
Yeah, all right.
Well,
I'm vibrating on your wavelength. I know.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think we're all in on. We want to meet everyone where they're at in their wellness journey and be the place that you can come and find that modality, find that thing.
Yeah, I'm excited for the future of cold plunge, what you guys are doing, and just like you mentioned, you got to go pee. Yeah. Rich, thank you for being here. Thank you for being my best co-host ever.
Thanks, Ben.
You're
Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Great questions.
Sorry if I
No, I love you, dude.
talk too much, man.
No, you're amazing.
Here in deference to you.
No, I love you. It's just hearing your voice and hearing your questions, and that was fun to get to know this guy, man. Really psyched to have a cold plunge.
Cool.
I'm blessed to have one of these in my backyard, man. It's awesome.
If I told you, I don't know, 5-6 years ago that you were gonna, maybe if I even told you would have a podcast, you wouldn't believe it.
Nah.
But you were gonna sit down and talk for an hour and a half about getting in cold water.
It's crazy. I know, but you inspire me because you're the first one I've talked about doing this type of things. It's so cool, man. I'm excited to have you here, and Andrew's taking a piss now. But yeah, shout out to Cold Plunge. All the listeners, you see me in this thing all the time, and this is the man behind it. And Rich inspired me to even think about doing that. I did my first one with him in Huberman. And Andrew, thank you for being here, and I'm psyched to see what you guys do next. And
dude, this is the best part, is like coming in and dropping in with
I'm
you
excited,
two,
yeah.
and like connecting, building these relationships. And yeah, thanks for bringing me on, man.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I'm feeling good in my 50s thanks to you. Now we're going to go Cold Plunge.
Me
Want to
too.
do it? Want to do it?
Dude, I'm in. I haven't
Rich
got my
has
plunge
gotta
in
go.
today.
He's
I gotta
busy,
go.
man.
Yeah, gotta go.
Rich, thank you for being
Thanks,
here too,
man.
brother.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was awesome. All right, so we're back on the podcast with Ryan Duey, my man, Cold Plunge. We had a great podcast. You guys just listened to it. And sometimes I forget things I want to talk about, stuff that we didn't get to do. And I was kind of distracted, to be honest, on this episode because we have Rich Roll, which is one of the most incredible podcasters, legends on the pod, being the co-host. But sometimes I try to dive a little bit more deep with a person. We've talked about in this whole episode everything he's doing now, but I want to dive deep back just a little bit of growing up, where you were born and where you grew up a little bit, and how you were as a kid. Did you have siblings too? You have siblings?
Yeah, I did. I had one older sister. She was 4 years older than me.
And was she into the same stuff you were into? Like
Totally
up?
different.
Wow.
We were very different. I was into sports. She was more into theater and acting and singing. Very different dynamics in school. I was much more of a troublemaker, but did really well in school. She was like a really, good kid in school, didn't get in trouble too much, but like struggled more with, or just had different experience than I did from like a schoolwork perspective. So we were just very different across the board.
Yeah. Were your parents strict and stuff growing up?
My parents were, I think they held really good boundaries with me. They weren't overly strict. My mom was definitely more the disciplinarian in the family. And my dad was one, like when shit really hit the fan, that's who I'd want to talk to first,
Yeah.
But my parents were together since day one. They're still married. I think they've been married. Shoot, what are they going on? 45, 46
Oh, that's
years.
amazing, dude.
And so they were just really good into, provide. We were just like middle class family, like providing safety, security. Like we got our vacation every year. So we had a really good home life. Pretty I feel like pretty status quo family growing up.
Yeah. And then what were you like in high school? Were you like an outgoing person? Were you thinking about your future? Or were you working? Did you have a job and stuff when you were in high school, working different jobs? And
I was really into sports.
Yeah.
Kind of that jock dude, was really into soccer, basketball, very, very competitive in that. And then equally, but like I was also like a pretty social guy. So, definitely got into kind of that partier dude in high school, outgoing, social. I was like, school came easy for me. I wouldn't say I like worked really hard at it, but I kind of, I think I knew the system. I grew up in a public school system. It was just very, I kind of knew what I needed to do to get by.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to college. I was kind of like I didn't really have like a career path for myself, but that was where I grew up. It was like kind of the route out, go to college and I get to leave town. And that was what it was. So I knew what I just kind of met the level that I knew I needed to meet to have that opportunity. And luckily, I did get into a college that, I was happy to go to, and left town, but that was kind of always the goal. I grew up in the same exact house.
Wow.
From, when I was born, brought home as a baby to the same house, grew up the whole thing, lived there for 18 years. And then, it's funny how, I think kids, we all either like go the route of our parents or we go the exact opposite.
100%. And
like it's funny, my sister is much more my parents' route. Like she actually lives 3 houses up from where I grew up.
Oh, wow.
On the street. And like my nieces all live there, and live in that similar lifestyle. And I left, like I moved out of the country and was like, I'm gone. Like I want to do my own thing. And so I think we're all like, I don't know. My personal opinion is we all either follow our parents or we make some decision at an early age to be like, I want to do the opposite. But we're all still like responding to our parents. Like our parents are still actually like dictating what we're all doing.
It's crazy. That's so true.
Yeah.
So what was your major in college?
Dude, I studied in international business agriculture.
Wow.
Classic shit where it's just like, I'm going to college. I got to get a degree. Business was what I wanted to get into. Long story short, the college I was in didn't allow, like, you had to declare early to get in. I didn't have good enough grades. So I declared for the agricultural program because I knew I could get into the college that way.
Yeah.
And then my grades weren't good enough, so I couldn't actually switch over to business. So I ended up with this international agribusiness degree. It's reality. It's the same exact thing as a business degree, except the examples they use are tractors and chickens as opposed to, like actual like franchises or facilities or the words are just different. And I had to take a few random classes of fun ones of like wine and vit class. I took like an organic agriculture class. I remember I had to take a poultry class, which was a really bizarre, uncomfortable experience.
It sounds like
actually was in there. The first day they like brought a chicken in and the guy killed a chicken like right in front of me.
Jesus.
Like snapped its neck. Dude, it was one of the most intense things. It was like I was in with these like hardcore agriculture people and I did not know what class I was in. And I remember like I wanted to call murder. I was like, whoa, what is going on? Like I did like it was wild. It was like a very unique experience from someone that had not grown up there. And I remember that class, like obviously I couldn't even finish the final because we had to do stuff like that. And I was like not ready to, it was not like sustainable, like poultry either. This was like poultry living of like chickens in, in factory farm type condition. It was not, it wasn't great. But that was a class that really kind of impacted me in like, how we treat our animals and how we,
man, that's a real reality, man. That's crazy.
Totally.
Do you, well, let's get to that then too. Cause I know you're talking about, you had like a crazy, like your diet wasn't the best. You were like, partying, you were like eating like shit. What is your lifestyle like now? As far as like how you're living now? Cause I know you made a drastic change. Do you try to eat vegan or try to eat a certain way?
No, I do eat meat.
Yeah.
It's important to me of like where it's sourced. It's important to me. I haven't got it. Like the next step for me with meat is like, I do feel the need if I eat meat, like I need to be able to hunt it and like actually have that experience. And so that's kind of my next frontier, which I haven't done. I have some friends that are really like, it's a lifestyle they live. But no, I eat meat. I from a diet standpoint, I would say like diet's always been my, like, I think I have a good diet if I was just going to compare like the average person. Yeah. However, for me, that's been my like bugaboo. Like it's definitely an area that like I like to indulge and I sometimes have struggle with boundaries of like what I eat and like when I eat. So that's kind of been my like being active and working out and, doing the other holistic lifestyle stuff like floating or cold plunging or that's all really easy for me. Like that's stuff I'd love to enjoy. It's in my life. I'm disciplined with it. Diet's the one that can get, I can get a little loose. I mean, at the end of the day, I really like pizza.
Were you struggling with your weight during your life or you've always been like in shape because you did sports so much? So.
Yeah, I've always been, good, like fit, sports is just a key. Fitness is just ever since I was like 4 years old, I'm playing sports. And so I can't go 2 to 3 days. If I'm going 2 to 3 days without a hard sweat, like I'm off and I feel like highly uncomfortable with myself. So it's like grateful that I had that instilled into me. But I also grew up on like a pretty shit American diet, like eating fucking, Kraft mac and cheese and like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, or like Honey Nut Cheerios, thinking that's like this great source of something. So I grew up on like, everyone's doing their best, thinking that's what's standard. And that's, I grew up in my developmental years were in the 90s. So definitely a unique time for, food in our country. So, Yeah. So I've had a lot of unlearning to do with that into like what is a good diet. And I think I'm still figuring that out, like for my body.
Yeah.
What exactly is like what I respond to the best, and having a good relationship with food.
Yeah, Sam, I did that recently where I did like an 18-day juice cleanse where I just cut everything out and just fucking lost like almost 19 pounds. And then
Wow.
I just like started reintroducing things to my body. And the one thing that was not cutting it was gluten. And I had a stomach issue my whole life. I thought I had IBS. Thought I had all these problems, and I'd have serious, I talk about on the pod, like serious shit issues where I always have to go to the bathroom in public. I'd source out as soon as I get there, I find the closest bathroom just to know whatever I ate that day in case I had to go. And I thought like that's normal vegan life where you eat food and it goes right through you. But behind it all was all the fake meats, all the fucking gluten, all the over processed shit. And it's almost been 10 months and I'm in the best shape of my life just from cutting that one thing out that I never went to the doctor for, but I've had troubles ever since I became a vegetarian in 1988. I've always had bathroom issues where I thought that was just part of my diet because I ate so much fiber and all these vegetables, but I just figured it out myself just by reintroducing shit to my body, and like it's changed my life so dramatically in the past year. It's unreal that it's taken me till I was 52 years old to figure out what the fuck was wrong with my stomach. It's crazy, dude.
And that was just gluten that you cut out.
Just gluten, dude.
That's great. Yeah, I'm in the midst of. It's this. I don't know if you're familiar with like 75 Hard. It's a program. It's like a workout. Basically, it's 75 days that you commit to working out.
Yeah.
2 times. Yeah, you know of it. Anyways, you have to choose a diet, and I chose gluten free, so I'm 30 days into that.
Wow.
And so I can attest. I feel lighter, and I feel way more clear in my head.
Isn't that that's crazy? That's so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I definitely can attest, and I wouldn't even say that I responded bad to gluten. It's just been interesting to cut that out and actually feel, just lighter.
I feel lighter and leaner. I feel so different, man. It's so crazy that I never even thought about it my whole life because I was eating everything vegan, whether it was junk food vegan or whatever it was, and just trying to get whatever I can get, what I needed per day. And now it's just like I eat less, but I eat super more healthy and just like I don't know, man. I'm just obviously with the plunge and the sauna and my exercise and my running and my workout and getting muscles where I didn't have before in my 50s. Just everything changing my whole everything around, which you have to reset yourself. And it's cool you're on the gluten free shit. It's interesting because some people go ahead.
Are you like 3 straight meals a day, or what's your eating? I'm always curious what people's eating structure is.
Because I try to do the intermittent fasting too, which I think was incredible. I did it for a long time. A lot of my friends do that, eating just like later in the day and stuff. But like I'll have, thanks to Laird Hamilton, shout you out Laird and Gabby Reese, they sent me all their products the past couple of days, like the most insane bars and powders and all this shit, dude. So it's like in the morning I do my athletic greens. I'll have like some tea. I'll work out. I have like a bar, and then I'll eat like midday, like 2 or 3 p.m. And then at night, I'm just like snacking on like healthy shit. We'll just like I like to have frozen blueberries that I buy fresh, and then I freeze them. That's like a good iron thing for me. I have like blueberries or nuts or gluten-free shit at night. But I'm not eating as crazy as I did before, and also my stomach is just. I feel like it shrunk when I did that crazy cleanse, and I'm just being smart about what I'm putting in my body and paying attention to it. And just because it was vegan didn't mean it was good for me. And I know that now. It's like, so the whole gluten-free shit and the training stuff, I don't know, man. You train every day, right?
Right now I'm training every day. I would say
on the program, yeah.
Yeah, I would say typically I'm 4 to 5 days a week, but I'm really loving the 7 days. But part of me is I've been incorporating a lot more walks. I've been rucking, so wearing like weighted vests.
Wow.
Because it's just for muscles, like to be training every day is kind of a lot. But that's what I've been working. Some of my workouts a couple days a week, just putting on like a 30-pound weighted vest and going for a 45-minute walk through the hills.
And what does that do? That still helps you build muscle and helps you still.
Yeah,
burn
it's like
too,
I mean, walking is just a great tool in general for like fat burning. You're getting that like great sweet spot of kind of like that. I guess that would be like zone 2 cardio type thing, where your heart rate's just in that sweet spot where you're fat burning. And putting the weighted vest on just kind of accelerates it.
Okay.
It's pretty. It's funny. I don't know what this has to do with it fully, but I call it a mushroom trip because it's like mushrooms. Like you take them and you don't know they're there until you know they're there.
Interesting.
And that's how the ruck vest is. It's like it's totally cool the first 30 minutes, and then that last 15, like for me at 30-minute mark, it's like, oh shit, this kicked in, and I got to get home with this vest on.
Wow.
And that's when it's just like it kicks in. You leave like feeling like a pretty good sweat. And just it's this unique new workout that I think is a great hack for people. I mean, it's a company called Ruck. They build these vests, and they're epic. It's a way to just supercharge your walk.
I mean, that's interesting. I can even do that like on a hike or something too, depending on how crazy
Totally,
it was.
man.
Yeah.
You pick these different weights. You go 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds. Like you can add different weights for different walk styles, and it just puts a little extra weight in your body. And obviously, it's more your legs have to endure. And, it's just like, it's more load bearing on the body, but it feel great afterward.
I like you run too, right?
I haven't been running as much lately, but yes, I do run not super long distances, but I'll do my runs usually until like 2 to 3 miles.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
So
I've been
I saw
doing
you just did a 5 mile on your birthday.
Yeah, my first 5 mile, man. I feel great. I've been running with a lot of people who do like Ironmans and stuff, and I'm just gonna keep trying to go. I really want to do a marathon sometime in my life in my 50s. That's a goal of mine. And
Cool.
Yeah, I love it now. I hate it at first, and I even hate it when I get started. Once you get warmed up, it just after I did that I only did the 5.3 for my 53rd. I could have kept going because once I was warmed up and in the moment, I just like, dude. So now it's like it's so cool. Thanks to Rich and a bunch of my friends, all these different shoe companies are now like DMing me and sending me shoes to try. I'm like, holy shit! It's like there's so many options for shoes and what kind to wear and for how long a run shoes you're wearing, and like it's just a totally different world. And I love like running with my friends. We have conversations while we're running. We're talking and like it's nice, dude. It's I get more motivated like working out people, especially running at least. It's nice to have somebody to talk to and just running. But yeah, I like it. And we went like all around this area in LA I never really ran to, so it's a whole new world for me, man. But I'm definitely enjoying it.
That's great. To me, it's the best. I just get to
zone out.
It's nothing to think about. You just get to go, and that run is a real thing, and you just and you can get better at it pretty quick.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Can improve.
I can feel it,
rapidly.
dude. Because I started doing the weight and conditioning training, which I do 3 days a week in my garage with my friend with weights and everything. So that's just helping my running now. I'm feeling a difference in my running too, with the strength of that.
That's awesome, man.
And one more thing, what about music for you? Like we didn't really talk about music before. What is the music you grew up on and music you listen to or you like?
That's a good question, man. Man, music. Me personally, dude? I grew up on fucking gangster rap.
No,
what I like.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I was.
That's fucking amazing.
I was a little white boy in the suburbs. It's like that was the thing. I was Tupac, Snoop. Like that's the shit I liked.
NWA.
Yeah, and NWA had come out like a little before I had. I was right when like Dre and Chronic. And,
yeah, dude.
And 2001, like that shit came out, and that was like, change things. Then Eminem started doing his thing, and that was the shit that I listened to. And then I,
awesome.
Naturally progressed into, I don't know if it's naturally, but for me, it was like got into reggae. So it's kind of like these dual sides of rap and reggae.
Nice.
And so that was what I grew up listening to.
And is that still your type of music you listen to now, or like you listen to other things?
Yeah, I listen, I'd say like my game with music is probably it's at its most minimal right now. Like my free time is fully dedicated to podcasts. It's just kind of the season that I'm in.
Yeah.
But it's changed over life. I've gotten got real into like kind of the electronic scene.
Nice.
I went to a lot of like festivals, more like kind of like hippie festival type thing. So different electronic musics I was into.
You going to Burning Man and shit?
Yeah, I've been to Burning Man
nice.
A couple times. Yeah, man, that's my scene. That's where I feel. That's my
Respect.
place where it's just that where you the freedom, meets spirituality, meets like societal rules out the window.
Nice. What about punk rock? No punk rock for you?
No punk rock,
That's
but like
cool.
love the respect that scene. I think it's like I grew up on a couple bands that I liked that were not punk rock, but they would have a few songs that would be punk. So that was my exposure to it, was like Expendables and Slightly Stupid, and they had these
I remember
couple
those bands, yeah.
they would throw in these punk rock songs. That was like, I don't know if it would be like the punk scene would be like, those are punk, but like they were like kind of shout outs to the punk scene that was important to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like the energy with those songs are just like, it's like the pit is like a whole new level. And it's like this whole new connection of, that was something I loved in my early 20s, was like these shows with incredible mosh pits and just like the etiquette to that and learning how to move in those.
Nice.
And yeah, that was my shit.
I gotta have you out to an H2O show sometime. We play Becoming Heiress.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
You
and Rich. Rich hasn't seen this yet either, so both you guys, we play your era.
Dude, I'll take Rich in the pit. We got to get his back fixed. But
we do that first. Yeah. Oh man. Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I just want to get a little more deeper in your life, and people know you for the Cold Plunge and the podcast you're doing and what's happening in your life now. But it's nice to hear some history about you and growing up and your music and just everything. This real life shit,
Thanks, man. Thanks for asking these questions.
Of course, dude.
True.
So, thank you, man. I appreciate you once again. And, this was a great episode, me, you, and Rich. And if you're still listening now, this is me and Ryan just catching up a little bit, what we didn't touch base on earlier. And, I'm looking forward to, I saw the picture of the sauna. People hit me up now. Oh, my God, the Cold Plunge sauna. When's this coming out? Like, people sending me shit. It's awesome. So, by the time this comes out, that'll be out, too, as well. But yeah, I just had Gabby Reese on a couple of days ago. We were talking about all the ice and the wall and everything, and Laird and everybody. It was a really great episode as well, talking about appreciation for, ice, Plunge and everything. And since we've talked too, man, Brolin's still going hard, man, every day, dude.
The guy's savage, man.
Every day, bro. It's so cool. And it's funny, since we talked too, the dude with the sign who always makes these funny signs, and he made one about the Cold Plunge. And
I think that was the day I saw you.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that is that we all laughed about it and saw it, but I saw Andrew wrote a big thing on there. You wrote something on there, and I thought about it. I sent it to Josh. Me and Josh talked about it too. It's like there's a pride thing in doing the ice baths and going into the frozen lakes and oceans and the Cold Plunge. There's a pride and excitement where you want to post about it, you want to share this experience, because it is no fucking joke, and it doesn't matter if I go every single day. It doesn't get easier for me. There's no trick to it. It depends on how you're feeling that day, how much sleep you got, what you ate. It's your energy of that day. When you go into the Cold Plunge, it doesn't matter. And so when you do it, it's a victory. And my friend's wife was super nervous, came over to my house on Sunday. She had gone into a swimming pool at her mom's house a couple months ago in Florida, where she didn't know how the degrees were. And she went in that thing for like 11 minutes and tried it for the first time, and we just sat there like a G. And she was so fucking proud, and I gave an MVP of the fucking week at the Morse Spa. And it's like, people make fun of people posting about it. So unless you try it, then you won't understand how proud you are when you do this. You know what I'm saying?
Totally, man. We've talked about it. It's like it's definitely a flex, but at the end of the day, you earned that flex.
You earned it.
I'm there to pat on the back and, someone that went through something hard and celebrate them. And and it also is funny. We all do it, and it's like a thing that we're all.
I wrote guilty on that dude's page, and it's like, when I see him do that, because he's so big and he talks about current relevant things that are happening on a daily basis. I'm like, damn, mad motherfuckers using the Cold Plunge right now. This shit's, you know what I mean?
I don't even realize how many people are sharing their Cold Plunge experience.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, that means it's on his radar. That's like the current what's happening. I'm like, okay, that means a lot of people post about it, and it's a thing where I don't know, it's just cool. I think it's this organic why people post, and it's an excitement. I'll post that shit every day. I don't care. It's because I'm psyched to do it, and it's having such a positive effect on me and all my friends who try it. So it's like, I want to share that with people. So anyway, that's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you're a cold soldier, bro.
I'm a cold soldier. All right, bro. Thanks for your time. I know you're very, very busy, and I'm stoked for this episode to be out finally, whenever this is going to be live in the world. But as of right now, it's out because everybody's listening. But Ryan, thank you for everything always, bro, and I appreciate your time and your story and your journey. It's inspiring.
Likewise, brother. Likewise. Look forward to doing this again.
All right, I'll speak to you soon. Thank you for your time, brother.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Rich Roll and Ryan from Cold Plunge. It sounds like Chris from Coldplay, but it's not. It's Ryan from Cold Plunge having an even bigger impact. Toby and I hoped that I'd be able to call in, but I'm picking up my family from the airport, and literally it's happening at the same time. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to take the focus away, because the whole reason why we do all this stuff, wellness, health, podcast, getting it out there, exploiting the hidden, is in order to better bring health focus and inspiration to those that we love. And that's who's coming in, my girls. And I love them the most. So I appreciate you guys. That's all I wanted to say, is I appreciate you guys respectively, all three of you, for having a major impact on me. Even though I've been plunging for 18 years, this has been huge recently. Just anytime I need a shift and I start to get away from discipline and the comfort in the discomfort, I resort back to things that resonate wildly. And that's things that you guys represent. So I appreciate it very much. I wish I was there to give you all a hug and send you my best today. Have a wonderful day. And all right, that's it. Later.
I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years I have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. I have a code. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. Call 866-934-4570 or go to Removery.com. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations. U.S., Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology. Cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Once again, go to Removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.